Hello and welcome to City Beat. I'm your host, Tamika Keenan Norman, and as you can see, we're in the Children's Museum and Science Center at the Imperial Center for the Arts and Sciences in Rocky Mount, and really excited because we've got a new exhibit that just opened, Design Zone 2. So we're going to tell you a little bit more about that in the show today, and later on, you'll have an opportunity to see Rocky Mount's new Animal Services Unit. So very exciting show coming up. Stay tuned. More of City Beat up next.
How many nationally famous artists are natives of the Twin Counties? 25 writers, singers, musicians, and actors took their very first bows right here in Edgecombe and Nash counties.
94 civic leaders, politicians, educators, doctors, scientists, musicians, and sportsmen have all been inducted into the Twin Counties Hall of Fame. Come see them all at the train station.
There are already 61,000 workers on the job at 10,000 places of employment in the Twin Counties. Nash and Edgecombe are working together to bring us even more new jobs.
Hello, you're watching another episode of City Beat. I'm Tamika Keenan Norman, and you know, every January the Imperial Center changes over for their latest exhibit. Right now we're inside the Children's Museum and Science Center, and we're here to give you a little bit more information about the latest exhibit called Design Zone 2. And Lee White, Curator of Education, is joining me today. Hi, Lee, and welcome back.
Thank you so much.
I know you've been on the show before because we usually come in to highlight your latest exhibit.
Yes.
Design Zone. Very excited about that. Tell me a little bit about Design Zone and what it offers.
Design Zone looks at math and how we use math every day in places that a lot of people may not think of. Music, roller coasters, skate parks, fun things that we can do with math.
Wow, that's very interesting. So the exhibit opened when and how long will it be open?
It opened on January 30th, and it will be here until May 8th.
All right, so we've got a little while to come back. Can even come back and see it again if you want to.
Again and again, yes.
Exactly.
We'd love to have folks back multiple times.
Exactly. So tell me, what was the process behind choosing Design Zone 2, and what are some other cities that have offered this exhibit?
Well, we look at a lot of different things when trying to pick an exhibit. What the exhibit is about, what age ranges it's for, if it's even available, will it fit in our space, and it comes down to technical things. And this exhibit, it comes from the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry, so it's from across the country, and it's been all over the country. Washington State, California, Minnesota, New York, Pennsylvania, Florida. When it leaves us, it's going to Indianapolis.
Wow, okay.
So it's quite a traveler. It's been around.
And you mentioned age ranges to me before, and I know the former exhibit, Be the Dinosaur, was for, kind of smaller kids. Adults enjoyed it too. What about the age ranges for this exhibit?
Well, the math in this exhibit is really more for maybe 3rd through 6th or 7th grade. We're getting into multiplication tables, a little bit of pre-algebra and algebra. So this one's geared a little bit older, but there's still lots of fun things for the younger kids to do, buttons to push and things to make noise with and music. And of course, adults are having a lot of fun with it also.
Wow. What do you think adults can get out of it?
Well, I think it's really interesting to look at just the math behind some things that we don't always think about. Velocity and how a roller coaster is using math with angles and velocities and speed and how they make that work.
And we were talking before because I said, I'm public affairs manager, so I love the communications aspect of it. Not so good with the math, so you had to kind of walk me through that. What kind of feedback have you gotten from your audiences so far? Have school groups come out to take a look at the exhibit?
Yes, we have had a couple of groups come out, and at the end of the first group, I asked them if they had a good time, and all the kids said, yeah, they loved the exhibit, they had a lot of fun, and I said, well, I'm so glad to hear that you had fun doing math. And there was kind of a look of shock and a little bit of horror on their face that they had actually been doing math and having a good time with it. So we're getting a pretty good response from the school children, and the teachers are really enjoying it, that their students are seeing practical application in a fun way of the things that they're learning in their classrooms.
Do you think that they are really understanding that this is something that they're grasping? Because a lot of times you can have so much fun and you're like, wow, I really learned in the process,
A lot of times it's not till afterwards that you really stop and think, oh, wait a minute, I learned something from that. And so that's really what we like to do here is have a good time, but really have a lot of learning and education behind it.
Okay, so when can folks come out to see Design Zone 2, and what's the cost for admission?
Cost is $6 per person. That includes the planetarium shows also. So if you come in for the day, you can see all of the shows we have going on that day and our exhibits. And we're open Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 5, Sundays 10 to 5, Saturdays, 10 to 5, and Sundays 1 to 5. And those Sundays are free for city residents.
Oh, please say that again.
Saturday, yeah, Sundays 1 to 5, free for city residents.
That's wonderful, and then during the week you can come as well. But I don't want you to give away the entire exhibit because I want people to come down, but I want you to show me how math is involved on a few of the aspects of the exhibit as well. Is that okay?
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right, let's take a look. Okay, so we're a short distance from the very start of the exhibit, and we're at the drum machine. I love music, Lee, so tell me how this works.
Okay, well, we have different tracks, and you can pick what kind of instrument or beat you want from this, whether it's a hi-hat or a bass drum, and we'll set each of these. We'll set some scratch and maybe some tom-toms in here. And then we're gonna set our beats, how many beats we want each instrument to do, and the repeats. And the goal of this is to use some multiplication and some algebra here and make all of them end on the same beat. So we're going to have this end on a 12 beat here, so we have to do some math and figure out how to make that happen. And then once we hit play, it's going to play what we've developed using math, and if we've gotten it right and gotten the math right, the crowd's going to go wild at the end.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right. Crowd goes wild.
Yes.
So that is interesting. So that's the 12 beat. We could do 24, for instance, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what do I have to do,
You
Lee?
just turn the knob.
Just turn it. I wasn't turning it hard enough, I guess. There we go. And I'm going to try this one more time. Okay, there we go. Hey!
Good job, you did it.
And then, like you said, you can always change this over here too to give a different
Yes,
sound,
so
right?
it'll have a different sound, change the beats, get a different kind of rhythm to it. You can speed it up and slow it down a little bit.
Oh.
And it's really showing folks that how much we use math and algebra even in the creation of music and
All
dance
right.
beats.
Well, that sounds good. Drum machine, don't forget that one. And there was another one I saw one of the city employees on a little earlier when he was walking through. It was the wackaphone. So I definitely want you to take me over there and
Okay.
show me the wackaphone. Come on, guys.
So wackaphone is showing us how different lengths of tube have a different tone to them. So we might have a low tone or a high tone, and the difference will be in the length of the tube, and we can use these tubes to play music.
Old McDonald.
Oh, McDonald.
Oh.
So we have a few songs here that you can do, or you can just make up your own tones and beats and music. But really, again, looking at how math is used in music. So even when you're making a musical instrument, the lengths of a string on a guitar give you different tones or pitches or notes. Same thing with a violin, or even when you're playing that tuba, you're stretching and shortening the length to give you a different tone.
Okay. And I know I was partial because we went to the parts of the exhibit that were all about music. You can hear music in the background. But tell me a little bit more about some of the other parts of this exhibit.
There are some tracks that you run balls through. So we're looking at how math is used when you're designing like a roller coaster or a skate park. You know, skating through different ramps and things at different angles, different velocities based on angles. There's also designing your own balance beam and how you can use math to make something balance.
Wow, so lots of different things for folks to explore when they come out here to Design Zone 2.
A lot of fun things to do and a lot of things to have fun with math.
All
We'll
right.
sneak that in on them.
Exactly. And tell me, I know you offered just more than the exhibit because you mentioned the planetarium shows, laser shows. What else can people expect here?
Well, with your admission, like I said, you do get free planetarium shows, and we have some new planetarium shows this spring. One is called Two Pieces of Glass, which looks at how telescopes work, how they were developed, and then what you can go out and see using those. And that works really well with some of our programming that we do out in the community, our star parties. Also in the planetarium, our new show is Solar Superstorms. So looking at what's happening on the sun and how that can affect things going on here on Earth with communications, satellites.
Okay, well that's very interesting. We encourage everybody to come out here and enjoy what you all have to offer.
Thank you, Tamika.
All right, thank you for being on the show today. Lee White, Curator of Education. We're at the Children's Museum and Science Center, so come on out and explore Design Zone 2. We'll be right back in just a few moments, and we're gonna take a trip to the new Rocky Mount Animal Shelter. I'm your host, Tamika Keenan Norman, and this is City Beat.
If you're seeking a house of worship in the Twin Counties, count your blessings, because in Nash and Edgecombe, there are 263 churches serving 45 different denominations.
How many students attend colleges in the Twin Counties? You'll be pleased to learn 27,000 total students are enrolled in all of the colleges in Nash and Edgecombe.
How many entrepreneurs took the leap and opened their own companies in the Twin Counties last year? 120 did, because we're really getting down to business in Edgecombe and Nash counties.
Hello and welcome back to City Beat. I'm your host, Tamika Keenan Norman, and if you're just tuning into the show today, you missed a segment with Lee White, our Curator of Education at the Imperial Center. She talked about the latest exhibit, Design Zone 2. So if you want to check it out, it's in the Children's Museum and Science Center located in the Imperial Center at 270 Gay Street, or you can call 252-972-1266 for more details. But right now we're at Rocky Mount's new animal shelter. Lots of folks have been talking about it. And we have the supervisor with us here, Mr. Willie Boykin. Hi, Willie, and thanks so much for joining us on City Beat today.
How are you doing today?
You know, folks are really excited. When I put out the press release saying that the animal shelter was open, we just got flooded with calls, folks from the media. It was just a great thing. So you were in the spotlight.
Yes, for a little while.
Yeah, still are, because you're on TV 19. But tell us a little bit about what you do as supervisor and some of the functions of the unit.
What I do as supervisor, I'm an animal control supervisor, like you just said. I oversee the daily activities of the shelter, all the rescues that's coming in, the animals that's being picked up, the daily stray animals and rescued animals, the surrendered animals, all that type of things, payroll, that sorts of things.
All right. So right now we're located at 1017 North Church Street.
That's correct.
The old shelter was where?
1101 North Church Street.
Okay, so kind of close vicinity.
Yes,
but right now you'll see the beautiful sign.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, with the police department logo on the outside. Why this facility?
This building here used to be Downey's Kennels, and it was kind of set up as like what a shelter would need. So we came in and did some renovations and made it our own and made it Rocky Mount Animal Shelter.
Now, one of the interesting things that when we talked that I found out was that this facility nearly doubles the capacity of what you had before in terms of how many animals you can bring in.
Yes, ma'am.
What are some other unique qualities for this facility?
This shelter now has 26 dog kennels and 23 cat kennels. And on the dog kennels, they got an inside and an outside area, so you can actually put animals inside and outside as well. And now we have a laboratory. We have an office for the animal control officers. We have a meet and greet room for the people that want to adopt the animals. They can come in here and sit and play with inside the shelter here. We can also have them to play outside. They got a run where the animals can run and play. They can interact with them and so on.
Wow. So I'm not familiar with, the functions of an animal services unit. So usually is that to get to know the animal you're about to adopt?
Yes, ma'am. Like a lot of times people come in, they view the animal and they say, well, I want to see how the animal interact with me and my dog or my kids or whatever. So we can actually bring the animal to the front here if you want to sit inside, or if you were to be outside, we can actually let the dog loose. You can sit and play with the animal and just kind of interact and see if it's a match for your family.
Okay, so this is a really big convenience, a lot different from, I would imagine, the other facility.
Yes, ma'am. We didn't have a meet and greet room in the old facility. We only had 20 kennels for dogs, and they didn't have an outside area. So you had just kind of bring the animal up to the front, and if they wanted it, they never had a chance to really interact with that animal.
Now, when I walked in here today, the first thing that caught my eye, I mean, it looks really new, but this caught my eye, this TV right here.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, are these the animals that are up for adoption?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
All the animals we got up here are up for adoption or rescued, whatever you choose to do. We got a lot of rescue groups that pull animals from the shelter here. So when they see these animals, they're put on pet finders. And if we got a rescue group that works closely with the shelter. It's Friends of Rocky Mountain Animals, and she coordinates with them. She brings the information back to the shelter, and we get the rescue groups to pull these animals if they're not adopted by citizens of Rocky Mountain.
Okay, really neat thing. And you said this TV was actually donated, so
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
great.
Yes, ma'am.
So folks, I can imagine, can assist too. Is there a volunteer program?
Right now, we don't have a volunteer program. That is something that we're looking at doing in the near future here. We like to have people that can maybe bathe their dogs and walk the dogs and just kind of interact with them. But we don't have a volunteer program at this current time, but we're hoping to get one soon.
Okay. Are there any other ways that maybe community members can help though?
We have a lot of volunteers that does give us donations of food, monetary gifts. Some of the items that you'll see at the shelter was donated by just individual citizens.
Sounds good. Yeah. I would imagine that people can tour the facility at some point.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
What's that like? What are those hours?
We're open to the public Monday through Friday from the hours of 2 and 4 or by appointments only. All you got to do is just come into the shelter, tell me or one of my staff members that you want to take a tour of the shelter, just to get a feel of it, and one of us will be glad to assist you.
Wow, and they can go in all areas.
Yes,
I would
ma'am.
imagine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
And if folks want more information, if they need your help with something, what's the best number to call?
The best number at the shelter is 252-972-1390, or if it's an emergency, they can also call the police department. That number is 252-1411.
Okay.
252-972-1411.
Exactly. Now, Willie, you've been here how long?
I've been with the police department for 8 years. I've
8
been with the
years.
city of Rocky Mount for 23 years.
Okay, so 8 years in this capacity
Yes, ma'am.
as supervisor.
Not 8 with this as supervisor. I think it's been like 3 or 4 for the supervisor, but I started off as an animal control officer.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and this should have been my first question to you. How do you feel?
I feel great. I'm very excited about the shelter. When I came here, I had a vision of making the job better for the employees. But after you've been here a little bit of time, you're like, it ain't about the employees, it's about these animals. So I had a vision. I did my research on this building, collected all the data. I presented to my upper management, and they was all on board. And so we purchased the building in, I think it was October the 14th, 2014. And here we are now.
All right, opening up in 2016. It looks wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're going to have our videographer, Mark Adcox, who folks never see, but he does an excellent job. He's going to go in and kind of get some footage of the inside area. And if you can let people know what they're seeing, I think that would be great.
Okay.
So thank you. And once again, those hours for tours and the number to call.
Again, the hours are Monday through Friday from 2 to 4, and the number at the shelter is 252-972-1390.
Thank you so much, Willie.
You're welcome.
All right. You'll see more of this animal shelter coming up in just a few. And also coming up in just a few, I'll give you some details about some upcoming events. I'm Tamika Keenan Norman, and you're watching City Beat.
Okay, these are our outdoor kennels. For each dog, each room inside got an indoor and outdoor area. And it's the same way on each side. Feel free to walk inside here and see the inside of the kennel area to know where the dogs are kept at. These are our quarantine pens for our dogs that have bitten somebody or need to be quarantined for certain reasons. These are the kennels inside. All our animals are kept on a nice heated floor. This is our outdoor meet and greet area. If you want to play with them before you actually adopt them, we can let you right in that gate there. That animal can run and play, and you can decide if he will be a match for your family.
What happened when Nash and Edgecombe counties formed the Carolinas Gateway Partnership 20 years ago? 8,550 jobs and $1 billion in new investments came to the Twin Counties.
Know why the Twin Counties was named the most charitable area in North Carolina? It's because the generous folks of Edgecombe and Nash gave $120 million to charities last year.
Do you know how many children play in teams in the Twin Counties? Well, 2,500 kids are learning to be good sports in athletic leagues all across Nash and Edgecombe.
Hello and welcome back to City Beat. I'm Tamika Keenan Norman, and I did want to take a moment to tell you about some of the events and initiatives happening in the city of Rocky Mount. You've probably heard about First Friday by now, but let me remind you that it takes place every first Friday of the month. And there are great things happening like free entry into the Children's Museum and Science Center, planetarium and laser shows happening in the center. And also you'll have a chance to check out live music and a no shame open mic night happening in the theater, so you can come out and show all of your talents. That's taking place from 6 until 9 p.m. And if you need more details, visit imperialcenter.org, or you can call 252-972-1266. And speaking of the Imperial Center, I don't know how many of you had a chance to see WRAL's latest show Out and About, but it featured the Imperial Center the first Wednesday of February. And we had a chance to talk about our history and the latest exhibit in the Imperial Center, Design Zone 2. I want to take a minute to thank Sheila Martin, who's the executive director of the Dunn Center at North Carolina Wesleyan College, Lee White, our curator of education, and Ron Green, chief professional officer for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Nash and Edgecombe counties, for being a part of that 3-minute segment. And if you want more details about that show, or you want to see it, check out the website at outandaboutnc.tv. Nash County Recycles Day is also coming up on Saturday, March 12th from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. in the parking lot of the Nash County Courthouse, 234 West Washington Street in Nashville. Recycle your old electronics, fluorescent tubes and bulbs, unwanted or unused prescription pills, paper documents, and more. The event is free to the public, and if you want more details, visit rockymountnc.gov, or you can call 252-467-4960. And of course, don't forget about the upcoming Easter extravaganza, Saturday, March 20th from 2 p.m. until 5 p.m. at the Imperial Center for the Arts and Sciences. It's Easter egg hunts and so much more. For details, call 252-972-1266. So as you can see, there are so many events happening throughout the city of Rocky Mount. And to be the first to know about these events, to learn about them, text City Beat to 55469. That's CITYBEAT, one word, City Beat, to 55469 to learn about our events and initiatives. And also, if you want to know more about the fire department, upcoming open houses and job opportunities, text RM Fire to 55469. That's RM for Rocky Mount Fire, one word, to 55469. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of City Beat. We'll see you in a few weeks. I'm your host, Tamika Keenan Norman.
Dogs that have bitten somebody or need to be quarantined for certain reasons. These are the kennels inside. All our animals are kept on a nice heated floor. This is our outdoor meet and greet area. If you want to play with them before you actually adopt them, we can let you right at that gate there. That animal can run and play, and you can decide if he will be a match for your family.
What happened when Nash and Edgecombe counties formed the Carolinas Gateway Partnership 20 years ago? 8,550 jobs and $1 billion in new investments came to the Twin Counties.
Know why the Twin Counties was named the most charitable area in North Carolina? It's because the generous folks of Edgecombe and Nash gave $120 million to charities last year.
Do you know how many children play in teams in the Twin Counties? Well, 2,500 kids are learning to be good sports in athletic leagues all across Nash and Edgecombe.
Hello and welcome back to City Beat. I'm Tamika Keenan Norman, and I did want to take a moment to tell you about some of the events and initiatives happening in the city of Rocky Mount. You've probably heard about First Friday by now, but let me remind you that it takes place every first Friday of the month. And there are great things happening like free entry into the Children's Museum and Science Center, planetarium and laser shows happening in the center. And also you'll have a chance to check out live music and a no shame open mic night happening in the theater, so you can come out and show all of your talents. That's taking place from 6 until 9 p.m. And if you need more details, visit imperialcenter.org, or you can call 252-972-1266. And speaking of the Imperial Center, I don't know how many of you had a chance to see WRAL's latest show Out and About, but it featured the Imperial Center the first Wednesday of February. And we had a chance to talk about our history and the latest exhibit in the Imperial Center, Design Zone 2. I want to take a minute to thank Sheila Martin, who's the executive director of the Dunn Center at North Carolina Wesleyan College, Lee White, our curator of education, and Ron Green, chief professional officer for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Nash and Edgecombe counties, for being a part of that 3-minute segment. And if you want more details about that show, or you want to see it, check out the website at outandaboutnc.tv. Nash County Recycles Day is also coming up on Saturday, March 12th from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. in the parking lot of the Nash County Courthouse, 234 West Washington Street in Nashville. Recycle your old electronics, fluorescent tubes and bulbs, unwanted or unused prescription pills, paper documents, and more. The event is free to the public, and if you want more details, visit rockymountnc.gov, or you can call 252-467-4960. And of course, don't forget about the upcoming Easter extravaganza, Saturday, March 20th from 2 p.m. until 5 p.m. at the Imperial Center for the Arts and Sciences. It's Easter egg hunts and so much more. For details, call 252-972-1266. So as you can see, there are so many events happening throughout the city of Rocky Mount. And to be the first to know about these events, to learn about them, text City Beat to 55469. That's CITYBEAT, one word, City Beat, to 55469 to learn about our events and initiatives. And also, if you want to know more about the fire department, upcoming open houses and job opportunities, text RM Fire to 55469. That's RM for Rocky Mount Fire, one word, to 55469. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of City Beat. We'll see you in a few weeks. I'm your host, Tamika Keenan Norman.